Welcome back to my channel, guys. So today we're going to be going into a very heavy topic, is to go through the points of what you need to think about on how to start your own business. So there is 9 points that I need to go through with you. So if you want to sit down and make notes, that would be perfect. If you don't want to make notes, if you want to make mental notes like I do, that's also fine as well. But it's very heavy, and there's like 9 key decisions that you need to make when you're starting your own business or when you are thinking about growing a business. So straight into it, you need to decide your role as a founder. So for example, you need to think what are you good with, or what is your background. So for example, my background is in accounting and economics, so I naturally sit in a CFO role instead of a CEO role. If you are heavy on like engineering or tech, then you go into a CITO role, like chief tech officer or chief innovation tech officer. If you're naturally sit in marketing, a CMO role, etc, etc. So as a founder, you need to think about what roles you can sit in, and what experience you've had previously, and then you need to think about what roles that the company needs that is missing for you to find your other co-founders. And that's where this leads to point 2, which is building a team. And building a team is so important, because you have to work with those people on a daily basis. They're a core part of your business, and they will be able to help you build your strategy, your philosophies, your mission, your vision. And yeah, so there's a lot of things you need to think about when you're choosing the people who you're going to be working with and co-founding with. Do they have capital as well to inject into the company? Do they have, what experience do they have? Do they bring like a network? Do they bring expertise? Do they bring blueprints? So yeah, and then hiring. So once you've kind of hired a team or pulled your team together of like co-founders or C-suites or board of directors, and then your mentors, you then need to think about what you're going to be offering. So is it going to be a product or a service, or a combination of both? So for products, you need to think about things like shipping. Is it going to be shipping? You need to think stock. You need to think, whereas there's like digital products where you can sell something, build it once and then sell it over and over again. And things like, if you're writing a book, which like I'm writing a book, Coach, and it's going to be on strategic finance and AI, and it's going to have a case study about Flight Centre. So Flight Centre Travel Group, which is the company that I worked for during COVID. So they were issuing refunds, especially for the FCM brand, about like 400k per month, and they were in liquidation crisis, and they managed to build a 6-month runway of liquidation of cash to be able to support and like pay their staff, pay their suppliers, pay their bills, etc, etc. So it's a really interesting case study. So if you're interested in buying the book, I'm going to create a pre-order link, plug it into this video, and yeah, it's going to be a really interesting book. And I'm going to have templates which is going to help you perform performance, which is like a financial template, which is going to help you plan your business for strategic pricing, strategic finance, sorry. And yeah, it will include a page of strategic finance. So the book is called Coach. Is estimated the first run is going to be out end of April 2026. And I'm so excited because it's my little baby, you know, my little baby book. And I've just got so much experience, like when I worked for McLaren Formula One, when I worked for Honda, that I've dumped in this book as well. So when I was future retail sales manager at Honda and I was like car sales analyst, and then I was logistics executive. I got so much experience working within the automotive industry that I have dumped some examples, and then I've dumped some other examples of me, because I love studying different companies. I love being able to... So I study companies, whereas Grant studies people, which is really interesting, because I'm like, I study the strategy of businesses, I study the financial performances of businesses, I study, you know, the operational side, what's in the news, what's in their financial statements, what's in their like footnotes of their financial statements. So I love studying companies, and that's one of the reasons why I started studying ACCA. And I'm qualified by experience, got 3 exams left, done 10 exams, keep failing tax. So if you're a tax expert, reach out to me because I need help passing my tax exam. Planning, so I've got a lot on this quarter, so I've not planned an exam, but I'll probably plan tax exam in September, hopefully, fingers crossed, hey, because I want to like get my ACCA qualification out of the way and over and done with, and then be like fully qualified. But I'm qualified by experience anyway. I've ticked off my 36 months experience working for Stryker, McLaren, and then Flight Centre. So there's where my 36 months experience is, and Ticketer as well. So yeah, moving on. If you're planning a physical product, you need a lot of capital if you're not drop shipping, because just the stock itself, if you're even selling a drink for like £1 and you have, I don't know, 50,000 customers, for example, like let's say you did have 50,000 customers in a pipeline, that's only 50,000, that's only 50k revenue in a year. And if you take out all the costs of producing the drinks, paying your staff, paying HR, paying finance, paying whatever, you're probably like, if you're selling a drink at 20% margin, then you're probably left with £10,000 profit, which is just like ridiculously small. So you need at least, say for example, 200,000 customers for your first run, and you're buying the drink at cost at like 50%, for example, then 50 times 200k equals 100k. So you need 100k of capital to start a simple drinks company to compete with Coca-Cola. So this is why a lot of entrepreneurs nowadays start with service businesses and digital product businesses, because it's just cheap to start. Building, like for me, building a YouTube channel, getting the rapport with you guys, it's free of charge, you know. So yeah, service business is definitely the way forward. And also, or a SaaS, which is software as a service. So think about your iPhone, like building an app you can do like a SaaS product. Think about bus ticketing, like if you're like tapping the ticket, then that is a SaaS software. And then if you're going into building a SaaS software, you need to have a lot of technical expertise, but or hire someone who does, or partner with someone who does. But also you need to think about the hardware costs as well. So like if you're building an app, you don't need to think about the hardware costs, because you don't need to sell everyone an iPhone, because everyone already has an iPhone. But if you're building software in other areas like bus ticketing, then you need to think about the hardware of like the machines and how you're going to pay for those or fund those. And I'm going to talk a bit about funding in point number 8. But point number 5 is point number 4 then moves on to what is a USP of your product. So unique selling point, USP, it's to do with say for example, I just met a founder, Lottie Fussy Bates. that does brownies and blondies, and her unique selling point is that they're gluten-free and vegan. So that's a really good USP to have in the market in terms of her selling brownies and blondies. And you need to think about what your USP is and what you're bringing to the table in the market, and why your product is different from your competitors, and how the stronger your USP, the better your product, the better your customers will be brand loyal, because you are then able to retain your customers because they can't get the product from anywhere else. And then you create a barrier of entry for other competitors because they don't don't care about the USP, or are physically unable to produce the same quality or ingredient or like area, if this makes sense. So your point number 5 is your ideal customer, who you are targeting in the market. So for example, my friend, she works in the art gallery business, but she's starting her own business, and it's in the beauty product industry. And then her ideal customer is, say for example, women from their 30s upwards who will have the disposable income to spend on a beauty machine product for their face, and who look for like anti-aging qualities, for example, and I don't know, live in the Berkshire area or the London area, or however you want to. Like, you can split down your ideal customers in terms of age, location, gender, so many different things. But your ideal customer is not always like the rest of all your customers combined. It's like what your mainstream customers will be like, and then you need to think about where do they hang out. For example, if professionals hang out on LinkedIn, and then you should then use LinkedIn to advertise your product, whereas boomers or Gen Zs hang out on TikTok, so then you can use TikTok Shop to advertise your products. So your ideal customer is important, and the more you understand about your ideal customers, the better. And Grace Beverley says that all her products is her as an ideal customer. So for me, my businesses such as consulting in AI and future retail, I'm not the ideal customer, but I had the expertise from my career to be able to go down that niche and build a business within that niche. So number 6 is your go-to-market. So if your go-to-market, you need to think about, if you're going B2B, business to business, which is kind of like wholesaling, or business to consumer, which is direct to consumer, direct to your customers. And then you also need to think about how you're going to sell. Is it online? Is it offline? Is it omni-channel, which is a mix of both? Ideally, you want a mix of both. And B2C companies are very, very, very difficult to start unless you have a strong following. You can't make millions and millions of dollars from a B2C company. B2B, though, you can, because other businesses will have the revenue or the budget to be able to buy your expertise. So my business as a consulting for AI, and I'm a business influencer as well, I sell B2B, because if I'm selling B2C, then obviously I'll target the founders or the managers or the directors, whoever are in the company, but I mainstream target one automotive industry, and I want to now start targeting interior design and it's real estate agents, because they are the people who essentially have the most money within the UK market selling houses and then selling cars. So the commission is the highest for a UK market approach, besides industries like oil and gas and tech, which I don't really want to get into. I've had experience in Virgin Media O2, but I don't have the capital or the headspace to start a telecoms company, for example, to compete with Virgin Media O2, and I don't have the passion for it. So number 7, you need to think about your marketing and your sales. So your marketing and your sales go hand in hand. Your marketing budget you need to think about what your marketing budget is, how much you're going to spend on ads, how much you're going to spend on customer acquisition costs, like your CAC, and your LTV, your lifetime value of your customer. So you need to understand all these metrics. So go into ChatGPT and type in your business, what it's about, and then just be like, calculate my CAC and LTV for me. So that is marketing. And then with marketing, you think about what platforms you're going to use, like Instagram, TikTok, whatever, YouTube, and then what content you're going to be putting on those platforms. Because from my perspective, like building a personal brand, I put different content on my Instagram than my YouTube, and then my YouTube has different content to my TikTok or my X or my Threads, for example, because I want the customer experience and the customer journey to like walk through different platforms and see different things. Whereas Grant's it's not a mistake that he makes, this is just how he operates. He puts the same videos up across the board. Yes, it spreads the word of his videos, but then I think it can get quite draining for his clients, customers or followers, because they're seeing the same video pop up everywhere, and then I think they kind of switch off a little bit. So from my perspective, for me, long form videos are the best way to create relationships, but short form videos and photos are the best way to capture attention. So from my perspective, I utilize the different social media platforms in a different way to get the most out of it. Just seeing 17 minutes. And then sales. So I believe in a soft sales approach where you're pulling in the customers and being magnetic and attracting the customers rather than being a pushy salesperson. And that's the whole point of Future Retail, where you have like angels and an expertise to be able to talk about the product in a very detailed way, and to be able to educate the customers to then use the product like a car. Like electric cars, EVs, you can't just go, oh, here you go, here's an EV, and then hand them the keys. No, you need to teach them, for example, how to charge it, where to charge it, how to look at the maps for like charging points, when to know the battery's going to go down, how to plan your routes, how to maintain the batteries, how to like service the batteries. So there's so much information in terms of selling an EV car that process takes a bit of time, takes like a couple of weeks or whatever, and some people may down the line, like a year later, have a question about the EV car, where the dealership or the salesperson should then still support those customers. And then I wanted to talk to you about so within sales, if you look at my videos, I break down what Grant Mitt's 7-step sale process is, so that you don't have to like go and watch his videos, but you can go and watch his videos, because he has a lot of videos on sales, on the psychology of sales, on mentality, because he's a salesperson of solar by trade. So he knows sales a lot more than I do. He's met a lot more people, he's sold a lot more things to a lot more people than I have. My background is in finance and accounting, and also strategy in terms of sales and marketing. So I just don't have that face-to-face sales experience. I've never like sold an NX6 or Type R to a customer before. I've spoken to customers and did research on how they've bought the car, but I've never been like, hey, do you want to buy an NX6? Do you want to buy a Type R? Here's the keys. No, I've never ever done that. So I don't have that experience or exposure. So once you've figured out your sales and marketing and who you're going to hire for sales teams, how you're going to train them, I don't believe in sales scripts. Number 8, you need to think about your startup costs, your finances and funding. So whether you're going to be using equity, which is your own money, or debt. And then with debt, you need to think about whether it's going to be borrowing from like a bank or funding from investors. So those are so equity or debt, and then from debt, funding or borrowing. So that's the tree diagram. I'll show you the tree diagram here, and this is my notes, by the way. So your startup cost is very important, because a lot of people, a lot of businesses go down because they, one, didn't have enough cash, 2, they don't have enough cash flow, and 3, they believe that profitability equals cash, but that doesn't make any sense, because the reason why your profit is not cash is because of several reasons. It could be your customers pay late, it could be you pay out to suppliers early, you know, so your cash flow is key, and your profitability is also key as well. You may be making a profit, but you may be really short on cash, and then your company will go bust if you can't fulfill paying your staff, for example. They'll stop working for you, or they'll quit. So, and then number 9, the last point, is launching an MVP, which is a minimal viable product. So I always believe when you're starting a business, you should always launch an MVP as quickly as possible into the market to test your concepts. So for my example, for consulting for AI, the first few clients that I'm taking on board, I'm consulting for free, essentially, because I wanted to test, 1, if I have enough knowledge to be able to help them with my expertise, 2, if the businesses owners actually want to use AI to build their businesses, or if it's too early to adapt, or if, you know, for whatever reason they don't want to use AI. And a lot of people don't understand what using AI means. They think it's like, oh, generating an image, a fake image from a picture, or from a prompt. But no, you can use AI for backing systems. You can use AI to like write your Instagram descriptions. You can use AI to create a CRM system, which is customer relationship management system. You can use AI for PowerPoint decks. You can use AI for all sorts. So, and the artificial intelligence is like your partner in crime. So your co-founder or your ride or die, essentially, in a digital form. And think about it, think about AI as another brain which is in the computer digitally. So if you think about it like that, you're talking to another brain, which that brain can operate like a human, and do essentially what a human can, but just in a faster speed and more accurately as well. People think, oh, AI is incorrect. Yes, if you put in shit, the AI will spit shit out. But if you put in something really, really good, then the AI won't spit out shit. And the AI, my AI tools are like 99.9% accurate compared to when I do it, because I know I make mistakes. But if I'm building a financial model using AI, I know it's way more accurate than what I be building, because of the prompts that I use. Because I use things like the financials from Companies House, of like the different companies, for example, or because I prompt it to say, oh, take the average like inflation rate, or you know, whatever. So I know what exactly what prompts to use to be able to prompt the AI to be as accurate as possible. And yeah, so once you've built an MVP, so for me, I'm gonna, instead of consulting now to, you know, sell my time, which is limited, I'm going to be selling digital products on the fly. And my digital products will be things like a CRM system, will be things like financial modeling, will be things like AI presentation decks to guide your business. And then I might go on to like record YouTube videos to then post on YouTube to direct the customers. But in the discovery phase of consulting, yes, I'll have to like use up my time. But once I understand the problem, understand the company, we can have like 15-minute catch-ups every once a month or whatever. But I won't be spending hours. Guys, do you like my McLaren cup? I got it when I was working for McLaren. They were giving it away. This is a Keep cup. It's pretty cool, right? I'm just having coffee, but it's what was I saying? What was I saying? I got distracted by the McLaren cup. I hope they win this year like they did last year. I mean, Lando Norris is pretty cool and amazing, to be honest. He's a really nice guy. I met him actually in real life for like a second and taken a selfie with him. But anyway, yeah, working with Formula McLaren was pretty cool. Everyone was so dedicated. Everyone there was super fans that would have worked there for free or paid McLaren to have worked there. That's how insane their passion was for Formula One. So, and there were not a lot of Formula One teams around the like Woking area, the Berkshire, Guildford, Surrey area, whatever you call it, or London area even. So people travelled far to work for McLaren just because of obviously how prestigious the brand was, but how elite the Formula One team is, and then because of location. So in the UK there's like obviously the Red Bull team, and then maybe like Honda, but like all the other Formula One teams are like in Europe, or I think. Anyway, moving on from talking about Formula One, as you can see, I'm wearing my Ferrari jacket. This is a it's not the original Ferrari jacket, but it's like a it's still legit. I got it from Depop for like £35. But yeah, it's really nice, really cozy. The sleeves are like quite tight and stuff. I might actually sell this, flag it on, put it online for like £350 to see if anyone wants to buy it, because it smells like me. Anyway, I am actually selling some clothes on Depop. I can pop the link down below as well for my Depop shop, but listing items will take a while, and so it would be like posting items. So another side hustle I'm doing is selling my clothes on Depop and buying stuff from charity shops within Wokingham and then selling them online, making a bit of money, and then reinvesting that into charity shops to like keep buying and selling. So which is helping the charity shops as well as like my P&L. So yeah, yeah, the last point, have an MVP, minimum viable product, which is like so if I'm writing a book, my minimal viable product will be all the chapters and the manuscript essentially, and then I can push that out to Amazon, and then I can gift that out to influencers at Accountex, for example, and speakers, so then they can read that book first and then give me feedback before I make the final version. And you're always like reiterating versions. Like if you think about Tala and Grace Beverley, they're always launching new clothes. So if you think about like, I don't know if you guys have brought the gym wear like 3-4 years ago, the texture and the materials are now a lot different than what they were like a couple of years back, just because the textures is amazing now, really soft, really, whereas before it was a bit kind of not stiff, but just a bit thicker, a bit more, it was a style, but they now can make really super soft, like thin material for the gym or for your like leisure wear or whatever. So yeah, you're always like reiterating your product and relaunching stuff. So is Apple in terms of their software. They're always like updating iOS, and yeah, so always think about your product not as the final product. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be meets the kind of like minimum requirements for you to then launch it. And then once you launch it, you keep changing the product and keep updating it. For example, if you're setting up a Chinese takeaway, your product will be like the minimal, which is like not harmful ingredients or like healthy for the customers, and then you can then reiterate it to make it healthier by like putting their sugar in, putting their salt in, adjusting the recipe a little bit. So you don't have to perfect your product before you launch. This is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys, because it's been 31 minutes. So hopefully this is a very comprehensive guide on how to start your own business, and this video compromises all the knowledge of like multiple videos that I've done previously. So hopefully this has helped you. Give it a thumbs up, give me a follow me on Instagram, Cindy Wong Mittens, and I'll be launching I might launch some consulting packages at £500 an hour, we'll see. But I'm focused on writing my book at the moment. I'm focused on building my personal brand and building trust for you guys, and just giving you guys as much free information as possible to help you grow your business without obviously tailoring the solution to your business. I will start talking about different industries. I will give more examples, and then I will also build digital products to help you use AI to help you with building your business and making it as successful as possible. If you're not using AI, your company will be bust in less than 5 years. This is what I believe. So yeah, cool. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Kisses.